Don't know where it is.
It's somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
Somewhere.
Why didn't I think to look somewhere?
Yeah, it's always the last place you look, you know.
Yeah,
You should start to look there.
yeah, really. Welcome. Welcome.
Big podcast money.
Let's talk about this podcast. Let's talk about that. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Let's Talk About That podcast.
I guess we're on the 4th episode now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it feels like we started this yesterday, but it's actually rather a month we've been doing this actually. So,
yeah. Now we're big important people on YouTube, and we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. I mean,
yeah, we're accepted at Google now.
Yeah. I just got the confirmation of that. So
that's awesome. We'll leave, of course, for you watching this on YouTube. We'll leave every link as possible below in the description.
Yes. Listen to our episodes multiple times in all the different locations.
Yeah, of course. You listen on Spotify, Apple, whatever, just whenever and wherever you are. I'm sure you'll find something interesting if you listen to this episode a couple of times. You find something new, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal. Got to learn something every day, right?
Yeah. We're trying to make it entertaining and somewhat educational, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking from two very different cultures, but still pretty much the same, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's especially in Minnesota, there's a lot of similarities, but also some major differences.
Yeah, I mean, you are American and I am Norwegian, Scandinavian. There is a big difference just there, and yeah, you recently had a very American holiday. You had Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. How was it?
It was pretty good overall. Of course, in the times of COVID, it's all a little different. We didn't do anything with my in-laws, which, as much as I like my in-laws, it was nice to not have to juggle two Thanksgiving events.
Yeah, of course.
And we're not. We had a somewhat traditional, Thanksgiving dinner, which of course the traditional Thanksgiving dinner is, a turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and gravy and
yeah. Everything you see on TV and on YouTube, every TV show has the classical Thanksgiving dinner where someone gets mad and someone cries and you split the turkey and it's dry as sand.
Yep.
I guess it's not like that everywhere.
Yeah. Well, it's also a little different in my house though, because my dad is a pescatarian, so he doesn't eat poultry, and my mom either doesn't like or can't do turkey, but she has a lot of food allergies, and so they did roasted chicken instead, but kind of a pretty similar taste.
Yeah, I find chicken to be more tasteful. I mean, it's more fat in chicken, and for me that makes a whole lot of difference when it comes to taste. But everyone has their thing. I work with someone now who he loves when a pork chop is like dry, and I would say it's well overcooked. He likes it dry, and yeah, but everyone to their thing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's tough not to judge, but yeah.
Can you imagine anything worse than the dry pork chop?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in the camp. I mean, I like my steak, rare to medium rare.
Yeah, same.
If
you want it well done, you can take a pork chop.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. But we're again talking about food. Of course we could do this, but we promised we'll talk about language last time, I guess. As far as I remember.
That's right. Yeah. I was as we were talking, I was thinking, shoot, we should have had the food episode after Thanksgiving, but
yeah, I was thinking that too. But I mean, before we start, before I published the third episode, it was like, this is wrong.
That's okay. There's more holidays coming up where I'm
sure we have Christmas and we have New Year's, and I'm sure that some Easter or something comes afterwards. But today's language, you are quite interested in languages. I have a hard time pronouncing today. I've been out in the cold. It's 7 Celsius outside. That's about 19 degrees Fahrenheit, I think.
something like that.
It's quite cold when you get inside and you have my whole face is stiff. I'll try to soft my lips and speak rather, so you can understand what I say.
Sure.
What I'm trying to say is that you are quite interested in languages, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always I think language is such an interesting thing. I mean, first of all, I mean, all the different words are cool, are very interesting, and it's fun, especially when you have languages that are related to each other, to kind of find those similarities.
Yeah, that's quite cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but also, like, it's so interesting once you get out of like the romantic languages and that sort of stuff, the really different ways that sentences are structured.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating to me. Now, because I know, like, I think last time we were talking, you were saying that in Norwegian, your sentence structure is even a bit different than English. Is that right? Do I recall that correctly?
Yeah. From right now, it's quite hard for me to find an example, but I know that when building a sentence, we are building up a bit differently. I have to, like, I think I said that I have to think a bit before I say what I say, so I don't say it build the sentence up like a Norwegian. You would understand what I mean, but it would sound just wrong, I think. But then again, English and Norwegian, Swedish, Danish, and German, all those are from the same language tree. So we're talking about similarities. There are a lot. We're from the Euro-Germanian language tree or something like that. It's all started in Europe, I guess.
Sure.
I don't know if you learned that in school about the origins of languages.
Not so much in, like, in high school. I mean, I think you can really get into that in university and college. There's a lot more sort of in-depth specialized stuff, but really, like, the main schooling requirement that we had was just you had to take 2 years of a foreign language. And it was really pretty rudimentary. And usually you didn't have a lot to choose from. I think at my high school, I think you could choose between Spanish, French, and I can't remember. Maybe there was one other one, but it was mainly Spanish and French.
Okay.
I ended up going with French just because I thought it seemed more different than everyone doing Spanish, although Spanish would have been a load more useful, I guess.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we learned that in the Norwegian classes about the language tree and why there is so much similarities between the different languages. I sent you a picture now. I'll share that on our Reddit page and so on. Now everything slipped my mind. Just poof, gone.
I know.
Language in the school. We learned that in Norwegian class. We had some history behind the languages, and they say that when a Swedish man or woman, they have a hard time hearing the difference between Norwegian and Danish, and the same with the Danish, hearing the difference between the Norwegian and Swedish. But in Norway, we have no problem hearing the difference between the Swedish and the Danish. And this might come from the fact that Norway has been under Danish rule and under Swedish rule in the early days. So we have kind of a big influence from Danish and Swedish in our language, I think. It's I find that quite interesting.
Yeah, that is, well, that is interesting. And you just, I mean, geographically, there are so many more languages so close to you.
Yeah. I learned when we get into the 8th grade, I don't know, we call that directly translated youth school. We don't have the same school system.
Sure.
When you're about 12, 13 years old, you can choose often about going deeper into Norwegian or English, or you can go Spanish, French or German. Many are choosing Spanish. I chose German. I had that for 3 years, and that is so much grammar in German, and so much changing in the words. If there's the way you build up the sentence, if you're talking present or like that, you change it so much. I can't remember a thing. Actually, I don't speak German at all, but then again, the words are quite similar in many ways. So if a German speaking person came to me and tried to explain something to me, I would probably at least understand what he was trying to explain, about what he was talking about, at least, because of the similarities in the language. And of course it helps if it's not similar in Norwegian, it's probably similar in English, and I think I know English pretty well too.
Yeah, I think, as I've said to you before, you seem quite fluent to me, so.
Yeah, I try my best, but then again, my vocabulary and pronunciations are a bit off, but that's natural, I think.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally it can matter for an individual word, but
yeah.
But I've never really had any trouble understanding you, so.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You're living close to Canada, the English-speaking part of Canada, at least.
Yeah.
And pretty far away from Mexico, where they speak Spanish. You're surrounded by English all over.
Yeah, pretty much. Minnesota actually has a really big Somali community.
Oh.
So, yep, yeah. I don't exactly know the reasons for that, but there's quite a few Somali here in the Twin Cities area.
have the Scandinavians and Somali all mashed together.
Yep. And then also we have a really big Hmong population.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say like
a Hmong, that's like from Mongolia or something.
I believe it's Cambodia, actually.
Oh. Yeah. You see my knowledge of that.
Yeah, it's definitely Indochina. I think it's Cambodia. I don't think it's Vietnam, but it might be Vietnam.
I'm doing a Google search. I mean, we can't go around and it's China, Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, Myanmar, French, Australia. They're everywhere, but mostly in China.
It's all over
mostly in China. Yeah, mostly in China.
Yeah, and I believe.
Sorry for those I've offended by that.
Yeah, no, I think they faced some sort of persecution at some point, and a lot of them came to Minnesota. So
yeah,
I want to say that's like the third most spoken language in the state.
Oh,
or at least it's the biggest Hmong population within the United States. I'm quite certain.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that strange, I guess. If there's so many from that people that live there. I mean, I see here now Wikipedia says by 2019 there was over 320,000 Hmong people registered in the US alone. That's quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, being in a bigger, sort of urban area, we get a lot, there's a lot of immigrants, a lot of
Sure.
Indians.
Sure.
I still get a fair amount of Spanish, although not as much as in, like New Mexico or something.
Yeah. So you're actually surrounded by more languages than I am, actually.
Yeah, I imagine in a smaller town in Norway, you probably are not going to get that diversity of language so much.
Oh well, we have a lot of Swedish waitresses actually working here, and there are, of course, we have the Latvian and Lithuanian, occasionally Russian and Polish people working here. There are some Czech, I guess. There are Germans, Danish people. But they're from not so far away, and it's not so strange for them to be here, I guess. But in the summer there is like boats from France, and I've also seen boats from Australia docking up here in this small city. But again, there's English speaking from Australia, so
yeah.
But
yeah, I guess you really are in a tourist town, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. There is we are at normal. I think we're about 10 to 12,000 people living here, and in the summer you can add that by I think 500% or something. It's insane how many people there is here in the summer. And of course there is people from all around Europe, at least. I don't know how many there are from other continents though. I don't know about that. But of course there is a lot of different languages going on.
Sure.
We have Finland pretty close to us, and that's a language. I think I said that in the first episode. We have the Sami people of the native Norwegian, Swedish, and Russian. I mean, up in the north we have that native people. They're talking Sami, and that language is pretty close to Finnish, and it's pretty close to Estonian, and pretty close to Hungarian, I think. Yeah, and that's those that are close to each other, and they're pretty much spread all over the map of Europe. That's when you look at the language tree, you see the Germanic languages are Germany, Denmark, England, United States, because of the immigration, and you have Sweden and Norway and all that. You see it's pretty close, and then you have the languages such as Italian, French, Spanish. They're pretty close, but then you have that languages from which Finnish come from, and it's quite strange to see. I think it's so spread out.
Yeah, well, and just looking at the sort of language tree picture that you posted, like, you've got the giant Indo-European tree that covers basically the entire picture, and then off in the corner you got this little tree that's Finnish and Estonian and Hungarian
and Sami, just down there.
Not at all related in any way.
Yeah, and I think that's if you're going into the science, I think you would call it, of languages, you would probably find that quite interesting. At least I did when I were in school. But you're partly Finnish, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
I've Finnish and Swedish, I guess, are kind of my two main ones.
Yeah, but you don't speak any Finnish.
Yeah, not so much.
Yeah, but you know some phrases.
Oh, I can't even claim to know any phrases at this point.
Yeah.
My dad has lamented at times that he's done a poor job of raising me as a Finn. Because I mean,
Yeah.
because I hit
Your father
my
is Finnish.
grandparents.
Your grandparents are Finnish.
Yeah, so my grandparents were the ones that actually immigrated to the United States. And it was my grandmother was a Russian Jew, and my grandfather was Finnish. And they spoke Finnish in the house, and some of that growing up. And my dad doesn't remember much of it anymore. He knows how to count, in Finnish.
Yeah, I know also how to count, I guess, some numbers because of toy my oldest had when she was a bit younger.
Sure.
Yeah, Finnish is so distant from our language. It's fascinating.
Yeah, Duolingo has like a sort of an experimental course in Finnish, and I did a little bit of that, and man, I had some trouble with it. It's really, really different from what I'm used to.
Yeah, we have a lot of mute letters when we speak, and when we write, you write a bunch of letters we don't use.
Yep.
Not talk about the French. They just write whatever they want and just say something. It doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah.
then you have the Finnish. They write the letter and they say the letter. They don't have any mute letters at all. It's so I guess it's quite easy to read Finnish, but you wouldn't understand anything.
Sure.
Um,
So out of curiosity, what as someone that has learned English, what do you think is sort of the hardest part of it in terms of learning?
Oh, I think I've always been rather good in English. I think I found it quite easy. I was on the computer. I was watching movies. I was playing games, and I always had English around. I listened to music. Always had English around like that. And the hardest part, some of the writings, getting the words correctly like that, but that's I don't see that as a thing really. But the hardest part came when I started working and I had to use technical English, words that you are not taught in school at all, words that
Sure.
are tied up to my job and things around that. Because when I have to explain to the foreign working colleagues or carpenters or painters or whatever they are, that I want them to do this and that, and I have to do this and that to make everything go together. It's quite hard to combine Norwegian, English, and sign language.
Sure.
But I guess that's the hardest part, getting be understood on a technical level. But your question, I don't think I found anything quite hard learning. Maybe writing a whole text, like writing some. Yeah, we had these tests or whatever you want to call it, where we had to write a story and so on, based on a theme or whatever. And that making a whole text and getting the flow in the writing, like having the vocabulary, the different using, not only using the same phrases and same words, but having that, knowing all the different words and when to use them, and so you can hear I still struggle about that, but I managed to get through that quite well, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry if that was noisy. Our cat just was going crazy and running into things.
Yeah, of course, that's what cats do.
One of the things that I think is really interesting, sort of a an English rule that the native speakers don't realize is there, but it is this the order of adjectives, like the order of the descriptors. And I just sent you this. I'm gonna read this quote. This is things native English speakers know but don't know we know.
Okay.
Adjectives adjectives in English absolutely have to be in this order: opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose, noun. So you can have a lovely little old rectangular green French silver whittling knife, but if you mess with that word order in the slightest, you'll sound like a maniac. I think that's such an interesting thing.
Well, I haven't thought about that at all. But then again, I'm not a native English speaker. Maybe that's why.
But yeah, it's funny though. I should try and listen to you speak about, like, listen to your adjective order, because I don't.
Yeah. You should because I'm sure I mess up a whole lot.
Maybe, but it's weird. I couldn't tell you what the order is unless I was looking at a reference. I would just know that it would sound off, and I can't remember any time that it sounded off. But I'm gonna have to keep my ear out for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just cut my head off when you hear something. I need to improve myself, but I'm trying to figure out if this is the same in Norwegian. Trying to make up my own sentences, but I think I would probably switch between shape and color. But I don't know. This was way out of my league. I'm no expert in English or Norwegian or grammar or anything actually, but it's quite interesting. I guess we have some rules like that in Norwegian too. I mean, we have our own sounds you don't find in many other languages. We when we add K and J together, right, like you have if you're writing meat in or cinema. Let's take cinema. That would be quite wrong. You don't write that with a J. We take meat. Meat it's easy. We have K, J, and double T. And KJ, that will be just like the cat makes when it's angry. That sound.
Yeah.
And is also you have that sound, I guess, but you don't know you use it.
Yeah, it's I can't think of very many spots we'd have that exact sound. It's very similar to our short U sound, like a but it's a little it's a little deeper though.
Yeah, I mean you have the O, but instead of O, it's quite hard to explain. It's easier to hear yourself say it. But when saying meat in Norwegian, you say kjøtt. Yeah, and we have the same saying when we say chicken. It's kylling. It's quite different in language.
Yeah. What was I going to say about that? Well, it is funny though. Just the sort of influence, for the most part, the Midwestern U.S. doesn't have a super strong accent, but Minnesotans in particular are, if you were to sort of caricature a Minnesotan, you'd say like boat. We have a very sound that I think probably comes over from the strong Scandinavian heritage in the state.
Yeah, because if I'm going to say boat, I would say båt.
Yeah.
B-O-T.
Yep. And
yeah, absolutely.
And of course, the sort of cruel irony is, of course, the name of our state, Minnesota. You get that. Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that very strong, deep O sound that is kind of similar to yours.
Yeah, but I mean, if you say like your example with boat, you have the Danish and the Swedish all have the B-O-T sound.
Sure.
So it's quite obvious. It's from the Scandinavian heritage you have. I mean, language is it's changing over time. and rather fast too, I think.
Yeah.
Things we say now in our respective languages would probably not have been said by our grandfathers at all. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
of course, we have new words, but we have new ways of using. I mean, with new technology, there come new phrases, a new way to talk, because we speak about things in another way, and by that the language are changing, and of course with immigration, the language are changing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I told you about the kebab, Norwegian language. I think I mentioned that. It's quite interesting. I don't know. I can't speak it. It just I think it's much shortenings of words and maybe some English words put in there, and some words from wherever those who started talking that came from.
Sure.
It could be Pakistan, it could be Afghanistan, it could be any Arabic country. I have no idea, but it's quite interesting. They have kind of their own language in Norwegian too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Yeah, the sort of how they mix together, and I think you'd call that a Creole, right? When it's a mix, sort of a mix of language, like in down in like Louisiana here in the United States, you get like a French Creole.
Yeah. And
like
mixing the Norwegian language and the Danish and Swedish, they're very much. We're using a lot of English words in our daily talk. We have yeah, that a thing about getting examples when you need them.
Yeah, I know, it's the worst.
I can't come anything now. But I know we're using a lot of English words and phrases in our daily talk that we probably don't realize.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is how much you don't think about speaking when you're speaking. You just say what comes to mind because it's so deeply ingrained in your brain.
Yeah, absolutely. And with all the English TV shows and stuff, you catch on to something there, and you probably forget what it is in your own language there and then, and you just spit out the English phrase. At least that's
sure
happening to me now and then. It's easier to come to remember the English way.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I know it's interesting how different countries actually handle the changing language. Like I know back when I studied French, one of the things I learned about was that France actually has, like, I don't remember the name of the department or whatever, but they actually have like a governmental department whose like mission is to keep the French language French, and to like come up with the French words for like new technology stuff from English and stuff like that, because it's very important that they have that French identity in the language.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you've got in Japan, Japanese, like the actual Japanese words for a lot of things are actually just sort of slightly Japaneseified pronunciations of English words. Like
of course.
I bet you know what the Japanese word computer would be in.
Yeah, I think it's water park or something.
Yeah, exactly. So they kind of go the other way around, where it's like, well, these are foreign words. We're going to leave them as foreign words essentially in our language.
Yeah. We have that in Norway too. The Language Council of Norway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually we have. I had to look it up to see if it was directly connected to the state, and it is. It was founded in 2005, but it was replaced because it was It existed before in 1974 to 2005, and then from 2005 and onwards, it's been something else. No, it does no. There's a different something happened. I don't care really. I don't care. but I know there's something still around called something like that. They're doing what you said, like the French are doing, keeping track on making things stay Norwegian, trying to keep the language like the way it is. I mean, we have 2 written languages and like 1,000 dialects in Norway. So
oh, really?
yeah, it's insane. You can go like into the next city over from where I am, and they have a little bit different way to talk. Yeah, it's it's quite interesting actually, and you can go quite far inland, and it sounds so different.
Yeah, that really is interesting. Just how much in such a a relatively small geographical area, just how many dialects you have like that. Because I mean, you definitely don't get the same thing in the U.S. I mean, we certainly have dialects, small changes at least, in the South and some out in the East Coast a little bit. But for the most part, I'd say it's really quite similar wherever you go, anywhere in the rather large United States.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't say I've heard many different dialects. You have some, of course, but yeah, I'm trying to find how many dialects there is, but it's quite.
Yeah,
something about the Viking Age and stuff.
oh, okay.
It goes quite far back. So some of the dialects sounds quite old, like almost like old Norwegian, but it's still quite new.
Sure.
But we have two written languages.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You have a bokmål and you have a nynorsk, New Norwegian. And everyone has to learn both at school. Something we in the South, we don't like the New Norwegian thing at school, and I think it's the opposite in North, where they speak and write more New Norwegian. It's quite different, even though you would understand everything. It's quite different to write it.
So it's spoken the same, or is it spoken differently too?
No, I mean if you speak bokmål like we do here in the South, you could have different dialects you speak, but when you write here, you write mostly bokmål. The further north you go, you write more New Norwegian. But then again, there's there's so many dialects, and some are kind of fused, I guess. I don't know where the border is exactly of what they write. I mean, the dialect could sound more like New Norwegian, but they're writing bokmål, and yeah, it's quite complicated for me at least.
Sure.
It's I see on Reddit when people are, I want to learn Norwegian, blah 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 blah, and want to learn the difference, and yeah, they get some. It's quite hard to explain what the difference is. Sure. Because we have all the dialects.
Now, I don't think this is too much. This might be slightly off topic, but I don't think it's too much off topic. It kind of related to your the bureau to keep the Norwegian language Norwegian.
Sure.
You have if I remember correctly, you said it's fairly strict in terms of naming your children there.
No, there is some names you can't call your children in Norway, but it's nothing you bothered about, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, we have some traitors from the war that you can't call your children, of course, and Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler ain't allowed. There is some things, but I think it's more strict in Denmark.
Okay.
I do a Google search now. You can't use titles like king and princess, medical or illness names, or you can't do swearing words. Of course.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
there is. I don't think there is some specific names, but there is some rules. Here they're writing that every year the folk register. How would you say that?
Like the census, kind of.
Yeah, probably. They have control. Of all the names and all the people in Norway, like the numbers and stuff. They get about 50 to 100 strange name suggestions, and about half of those are denied. Yeah, there is some rules. I can't just read all the rules there. There's a law on it, I guess. But sure. I know in Denmark there was given a book of names you can't call your kid. I think that's kind of a good thing. Mm-hmm. If you see Elon Musk.
Yes.
Why? How? Yeah, I'm the lack of words.
Yeah. Well, us in America, we love our freedom. So
yeah, we love freedom. So I'm calling my kid. What? Yeah. What did they call him?
I'm trying to remember now. I can't remember. The one that keeps coming to mind is Moon Unit Zappa, but that's obviously not Elon Musk's child.
Yeah, but again, that's quite strange. I saw some interview from, I think it was maybe Australia, talk show, morning show or something, where this woman was talking. They were talking about names, and she said that she didn't feel it was appropriate for parents to call then kids up after places like Paris or London and so on. And the strange thing was that her daughter was called India. I found that quite hilarious.
Oh, but, hypocrisy.
Yeah, it's everywhere. You just have to look.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is also about languages, right? Things change. You told me that when you decide names for your children in the US, you often, at least where you live, think about the nickname of your child. That was kind of strange to me. We don't think about that. A nickname just comes along if it's there, if it's to be.
Yeah, I don't know to what extent it's like a normal thing that people consider, but it was definitely something that we considered. Like, hey, if we name him this, then it can be shortened in a couple of interesting ways, and because a lot of the times people like to have, they like to have nicknames. And a lot of the times it's based on their, real name. And there's some weird, it's weird, some of the rules, like, Dick being short for Richard. Like, I don't know how that came about.
That have to be some joke at the start, and then it just stuck and became a thing. Something I learned this past week was we know, probably without knowing it, that our language is both Norwegian and English are built up on vowels. That, yeah.
Vowels, yes.
Vowels. And I saw this on YouTube short video that Japanese is built up on more on the what is called more on the
syllables.
No, what did she say? She said the melody. you're speaking. I'm trying to find the word she used. It started with M. She said it's built on. I mean, if you say a word, you can clap the. Yeah, you can clap the word. You know,
meter kind of, or
yeah. But so she said, I don't know if this is true or something that just she was clapping and explaining how each word was built up on that instead of the vowels.
Sure.
You know a bit of Japanese. You probably understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
am I drowning?
No, I think so. I'm not sure if I would have thought about it in exactly those terms, but there's probably something to that. I mean, Japanese, as I think I said in our first podcast, they have 3 different alphabets.
Yeah.
We're just going to leave out
kanji. Speaking though. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's based off of every character in their alphabet is a syllable, basically. Ya, ma, ga, ta. Those are all individual letters, and so you don't have the sort of weird things that we get in Norwegian and English, where you've got like silent vowels and
I don't
things
know
like that.
I can't realize how stupid that is.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and even us native English speakers, I think we've got so many different rules that even we don't get it right all the time.
Yeah. There's so much in Norwegian too that the very many. That sounded very wrong. So many will probably be right. So many people are using the grammar wrong in that way. They're missing something or using the wrong word and something that's quite basic, but the rules are so vague. You just have to know it to remember it.
Yep. It's very hard to really lay out something that you don't have to think about and remember all the rules for it, because you're always going to forget some. And of course, I think that's especially true in English, where we're just a mishmash of so many different language, families, between the Latin roots and the Greek roots and I don't know.
Yeah, everything.
The other sort of interesting thing about the Japanese alphabets is the thing that separates which one you use is really, for the most part, the Japanese alphabet katakana is only used for foreign words. So, yep.
They have their own alphabet for foreign words.
Pretty much,
I love the Japanese structure. They're so. I mean, you always hear about the Germans being strict and have rules for everything. Welcome to Japan.
Oh yeah, Japan has its own stuff, and of course, a lot of the rules you just have to know. In Japan, but yeah, so katakana is used for foreign words. So like, if we were to go to Japan, our names would be written in katakana, because there's no Japanese. Martin is not a Japanese word. Tony is not a Japanese word.
Sure.
And then things like I said earlier, like computer is written in katakana.
Yeah, that sounds very, very Danish, I must say. Computer.
Oh yeah.
They say it like that. Computer. Computer.
That for some reason to me that sounds like the stereotypical like New York mafia accent from one of our movies, like, hey, you got a computer?
Yeah, that harsh. Yeah. 4,5 computer. That's some Danish gibberish stuff. I had something I wanted to. Yeah, when pronouncing foreign words, Mr. American.
Yes.
That's always funny for us to listen to when you try to pronounce foreign words.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because first of all, the rolling R's, you don't have that. you don't have that. And that when speaking Norwegian, they don't have or German, they kind of have they don't have the rolling R, but they more have getting from back on the throat, like more.
Yeah.
Same with the French, or even more back there, I think. Yeah. It's I know you know some languages, so you know how to change your way of speaking a bit, but you don't use the rolling R to anything.
I think, well, we do. There's a little bit of it. Actually, it's through my knowledge of Japanese, because one of the stereotypical things you see, or a common error you see with translations from Japanese to English, is that sometimes L's are R's and R's are L's.
Yeah.
Well, it's because the Japanese, what we would call the Japanese R sound, is sort of in the middle of the English R and L, so it's sort of tough. It's sort of a flipped R. It's not a, it's I'm trying to think of a Japanese word, and of course it's always tough to think of examples on the spot, as we know.
Yeah, we do not have a script to talk. We just talk right from the top of our heads.
Yep. So like, we'll just say okay, we'll just say the word for spin, which is mawaru, and you heard it's kind of a mawaru. It's
yeah,
kind of,
yeah. I understand.
It's not mawaru. That sounds awfully weird.
That's really funny to listen to when you have that I don't know what you call that R, the American R, the English R. And saying a word that's supposed to have a rolling R or something else. It's hearing, we had that, I think I mentioned before, this TV program where they came from different parts of the US and tried to find their roots in Norway and exploring Norway's culture and places. And hearing them try to speak and write Norwegian.
Sure.
Yeah, just a little bit. Huh?
That's interesting. Well, it's trying to pronounce things. I like to try and pronounce them the right way, and I think to some extent the Japanese R is very similar to yours, because I mean, like, let me know how close I am here on one of your words that I recently, the kjøttkake, right?
Yeah. You're pretty. Kaker. If you change the two last letters.
Kaker. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's also a sound that I very much associate with Finnish.
Yeah, they have a rather sharp pronunciation on thing.
Yeah. Well, once again, we find ourselves in one short hour having completely exhausted the topic of language. We've said everything there is to be said.
Yeah, absolutely everything. There's nothing more to say. And we haven't even scratched the surface of Arabic and all the African languages.
No, I'm pretty sure like English, Norwegian, and Japanese and French are really the only ones. So
yeah, I think we touched German too. I don't think we need any more languages than that.
Yep. But yep, it is. We've been recording for about an hour now, and
yeah,
so
absolutely.
We're gonna leave you guys for today.
Yeah, make sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, and Reddit. Send us an email. Let's talk about that at outlook.com. If you have anything on your heart you want to share with us. Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to talk about next time yet. So,
no,
you guys,
I guess, yeah.
I guess you guys will just have to be surprised when it gets there.
Yeah, or just come with some suggestions. That would that would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to discuss a topic that a listener suggested. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we could always manage to find something, but something our listeners would like us to talk about would be amazing.
Indeed.
Yeah. So we're rounding it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
But with that, we'll plan on seeing you again next week. So have a good week, everyone. Welcome to December. It's going to be coming in just a day or two here as we're recording. By the time you hear it, it'll be December. So
yeah, probably
Christmas season in full swing.
Yeah. Oof, I hate snow, but
yeah, we're living in the wrong place for that, I'm afraid.
Absolutely. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. I guess we should say goodbye, right?
Yeah, we're doing the Minnesotan goodbye again.
Yeah.
But we'll see you all next week. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Bye.